Event of the summer, go big and drive home.
During the Make This the Summer event, get up to $15,000 off MSRP on new Ram trucks. Or lease a new Ram 1500 for $449 a month.
All with the Arrigo Sawgrass Advantage. Go big and drive home. Only at Arrigo Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Sawgrass. Right off the Sawgrass Parkway on Madison Avenue.
Healthcare.gov is here for you when life happens. If you lost your health coverage because of turning 26, going off Medicaid, leaving your job, or moving, you could be eligible to enroll in new coverage now. And if you need to update your coverage because of marriage or having a baby, you could also be eligible. But don't wait, there's a limited time to enroll. Check your eligibility at healthcare.gov today. Life happens. Get covered.
It's the Rooms to Go Labor Day sale, the perfect time to save big on furniture, like this mid-century style bedroom with queen upholstered bed, dresser, and mirror. On sale just $11.88. And your choice of 4 great bed colors. Now at Rooms to Go.
Habitat for Humanity of Broward's open enrollment is going on now. Apply today.
Now at 10. Developing now, officers opened fire in Hialeah following reports of a stabbing overnight.
We do not need 4 more years of bluster and bumbling and chaos.
High-profile Democrats taking aim at the competition on the second day of the DNC. The recap ahead of day 3. Former President Trump continues his battleground blitz in Michigan. And now, word of a possible new endorsement.
I like him a lot. I respect him a lot.
Meanwhile, the results are in. South Florida voters voicing their choice in the state's primary election. We bring you team coverage.
A South Florida woman got plastic surgery to look younger and ended up seeing red. 7 investigates.
All right, good morning, South Florida. Thanks for waking up with us. I'm Taurus Joe.
I'm Olivia Deventi, and for Alex Diarmas, Today in Florida at 10 starts now.
This is 7 News Today in Florida.
And we begin with a live view of Fort Lauderdale on this Wednesday morning. It is August 21st. Another South Florida start.
It is gorgeous out there. A little hot and humid, but we're okay. Meteorologist Erica Delgado live at the Plex with your first forecast. Good morning, Erica.
Hey, Olivia, just a touch on the hot side, right? Nothing we can't handle, but heat advisories are in place once again, and it just started at the top of this hour. For Miami-Dade and Broward County, just like clockwork, it'll run till 6 p.m. Feels like temperatures could reach as high as 105. Some areas could see it as high as 111 degrees. Heading into the Florida Keys, it also just began, but the heat advisory will last an extra hour, continuing until 7 o'clock this evening. Feels like temperatures could be reaching as high as 108. Right now, our current temperatures are sitting in the upper 80s for some. Hollywood sitting at 89, 87 in Pompano Beach and in Fort Lauderdale. That goes for Kendall as well. Seeing those double 8s from Hialeah, Miami, all the way down into Homestead and into the Florida Keys. Our current temperatures are starting to hit 90. 90 in Big Pine, 89 degrees right now in Cudjoe. A lot of 88s out there from Key West and Marathon all the way to Key Largo. 87 right now in Isla Mirada. Temperatures across all of South Florida already feeling like the upper 90s, a few hundreds out there. So it is shaping up to be a steamy one, similar to the previous days. But because we have that southwest wind, once again, we'll see thunderstorms favoring the East Coast, and we're already starting to see some downpours in mainland Monroe crossing into western portions of Miami-Dade. So heading into the afternoon, you'll need that rain gear, especially later this afternoon, but not before our highs reach into the mid-90s. And then late afternoon, early evening, we'll continue to see some of that rain and a few thunderstorms. A closer look at your forecast, though, coming up in a few minutes.
And developing now at 10, officers are responding to a reported stabbing in Hialeah. They say they were forced to fire. 2 people killed at the scene, including the suspect. 2 others now in the hospital as this investigation continues. Let's get to 7's Alex Browning live in that neighborhood where police are still working the scene. Alex.
Been very active and massive response and investigation ongoing, Tavares, behind me, like you mentioned. We've seen family, friends show up here at this block just in disbelief, trying to wrap their head around what could have sparked all of this. Hialeah officers opening fire at a home early Wednesday morning after a call about a domestic disturbance at 4265 West 5th Court.
They said a stabbing, the mother, the grandmother, the sister, and they put them all on the ground. I don't know if they're dead or injured. It's been a tragedy.
Police say they arrived to find someone stabbed outside the home. Inside, 2 more suffering from stab wounds and a person armed. That person killed by police. Another did not survive their injury. 2 others taken to the hospital.
Police had to respond to this house here on the upper porch.
But it's like he's trying to run a one-man band out there. Behind his seat and leave comments below. This is a make or break season. He's got to make an impact. Good morning, good morning, good morning, guys. Welcome back to the Brandon Mason Show. I can't believe things are happening every day, right? And I love to get on here and talk sports entertainment, but let me tell you something right now. This is big news and stuff we got to talk about. And I got to tell you, when I sip my coffee in the morning and I see things pop up on my screen, I go, okay, all right, wow. If it wasn't for all this stuff happening, we wouldn't have a lot to talk about. So I can tell you this, I greatly appreciate having the conversation. But man, we got to dive into this because this is conversation. It's going to make obviously global news. It's national news. It's everywhere. It's everywhere you turn right now. It's going to be all over the media. And let me tell you something. I'm going to give it to you straight. A lot of people can't. This whole white thing, black thing, race thing. I love the fact that I'm biracial because I give it to you straight. I tell you exactly what's going on. I don't sugarcoat it. I don't try to pick a side. People call it what they want. I call it unbiased because I tell you what I believe. Some people would say that's biased. Well, it's really not. I'm giving you the God's honest truth of how I'm feeling and what I'm seeing and what I believe to be true. So first things first, let me dive in this right now. Good morning to you guys. It's Wednesday. It's hump day, I believe. We're getting ready to talk about the Chiefs this morning, about the game, the previews for tomorrow night. But I had to get on here and talk about this because ex-cop Thomas Lane released from prison. Now, listen, a lot of people are not going to like what I'm going to say today. A lot of people are going to like what I say today. But I can tell you this. I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you the real feelings about what's actually going on. And, you know, the hard part about this is you're going to have mixed emotions. You're going to have mixed feelings. You're going to have people that are coming from both sides saying a lot of different things. But we have to call a spade like we do on this platform. A lot of people don't do that. And that is why I respect people like Cat Williams. Why? Because he gets on there and he goes, I don't give a shit what's going on. I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to give it to you straight. And I hope that people will respect that because that's the most important thing I can do on the platform. But now, here's the thing. And I'm going to give it to you straight. Ex-cop Thomas Lane released from prison. Now, here's the deal, okay? This is not the cop that was doing the kneeling, Derek Chauvin, which we'll get to in a second. This is not him. This is not the cop that before people start thinking about it and talk about it, how did he get out? He killed George Floyd. This is not that cop. This is the cop that was there during the situation and did not intervene. Okay? I'm going to break that down for a second so you guys understand. This is the cop that did not intervene in the situation. He's the guy that's been in jail now in prison since 2022 because he did not intervene and stop his fellow police officer or Derek, ex-cop, whatever you want to call it. They didn't stop him from doing the killing. Didn't stop him from kneeling on George Floyd's neck for X amount of 9 minutes or whatever the case may be. So I'm going to tell you what I feel, and people are going to get upset about it and no hard feelings. But here's the situation. I understand that he was there. I understand he's a police officer. I understand a lot of people are going to believe that he should have done X, Y, Z. Here's what I believe, okay? Here's what I believe. If I'm in the position, and I got a lot of pictures that I'm going to pull up here in a second. If I'm in the position and I'm seeing this happen and I'm a cop, I'm going to break this down for a second. What would you do on the scene? You're seeing your guy tussle with a guy on the ground. You don't know the guy, X, Y, Z. You're watching a tussle. He's got it under control. Do you step in because you believe the guy's dying? Did he actually believe that George Floyd was going to die? Like, did he actually believe that? If he believed that, we'll get to a second here in a minute on what I believe about it. Do I think he should be in prison or not? But need to say here, ex-cop released from jail. So here's a question right here. When I ask this question, it's did he deserve to be in prison? It really is a question that I have in mind for you. Did he deserve to be in prison because his fellow cop went through with the furthest extent with the knee on the neck situation? A lot of people are gonna go both ways here. But here's my opinion. I'm not talking about the cop that did it. I'm not talking about the cop that kneeled on his neck. I'm not talking about the guy that actually killed George Floyd. So we all understand. I'm talking about Thomas Lane right here. This man was not responsible for the actual killing. This man was in the background or on the side or trying to be helpful as a police officer, whether he was right or wrong, whether he was racist or not, whether you want to blame him or not, or blame somebody else. What I'm saying is, look, and a lot of people will agree or not agree with me or disagree. That's fine. But what I'm saying is this: he didn't actually do the killing. Now, if he believed in his mind that he thought the man was dying, if he believed that, he goes, yeah, this guy's actually dying right now, and you shouldn't do that. At that point, he should move forward and say, hey, whoa, natural instincts kicked in. Not because the police academy taught you something, not because the government taught you something, not because anything else, because you actually see what's going on and you believe that shit is going south right now and you see a problem. That is when your natural instincts kick in as a person, not a police officer. It could have been any person. If you're standing as a bystander, like, whoa. Now, you might not want to get involved in that altercation. I get it. You're a bystander. You want to say something, but the police are handling this. You might not want to get involved as a bystander. But as a cop, if you know the guy and you believe, hear what I'm saying, and you believe the guy is actually dying, you believe, then you should intervene, right? You should say, whoa, hold on a minute. We got it under control here. You're doing too much here. That's what I'm saying. If, in fact, he did not believe that, he did not think that the man was dying, and he thought that his guy had it under control. And for the sake of controlling the suspect or the guy you're arresting or whatever, on the ground, if you believe that he is like doing the right things and he's not dying, then I do not think that he should be responsible. He should not be in jail. If you're a fellow cop, a friend in the police academy, you're a part of the deal, you're sitting there, you're trying to be helpful, you're looking around, looking at citizens or bystanders or people that are going to be involved. If you believe for a second that he is okay and he's not dying and you're watching the situation, it's under control, and you got your clipboard, you're writing stuff down, or you're trying to move your cop car out of the way, or whatever you're doing in the background. And this is what I'm saying. Again, I'm not talking about the guy who killed him. I'm talking about the cop who's in the background, and he was responsible for aiding and abetting. Make sure I got that right. Responsible for aiding and abetting and did not stop the situation. He did not intervene. So he was in prison for 2.5 years. He gets out. He gets released a little bit early here. And now the situation is, obviously, what do they think about this? What do people think about this? Should he actually be still in prison? Does he deserve to be there? Because can you imagine I'm going to break this down. You're a police officer and you're out on the scene and you got your 3 guys with you, deputy and state troopers and whatever the case may be. And you're there on the scene and your guy starts taking over the situation. And you're monitoring here, making sure people aren't jumping in. You're making sure people aren't doing anything wrong, or maybe riots or people throwing stuff or what the case may be, but people recording. So you're trying to make sure people are back. They're not involved in the altercation. And then something happens like this. And then you go to jail for 2.5 years. Can you imagine how you would feel, about that cop that put you in that position? Like, you're probably thinking the same thing. Like, whoa, I didn't do that. I'm actually looking out for the people that believe that that's wrong. Like, I would honestly feel for this man in a certain situation. And I'm being extremely fair when I say that. I'm not coming on here and trying to pick a side or whatever. If we're talking about the cop that kneeled on his neck for 9 minutes and the guy died, we're gonna get to that in a second. But right now, we're only talking about the police officer that's been released, ex-cop in the George Floyd case, Thomas Lane, that was released from prison a little early. He did 2.5 years for this too. Now, I'm not saying that helps out with George Floyd's life. That doesn't bring back George Floyd. That doesn't help George Floyd's family. That doesn't help George Floyd, his kids. It doesn't help any situation for George Floyd. It doesn't help the media. It doesn't help the riots. It doesn't help anything. I'm being very clear when I say this, because if I don't be very clear, I notice that things that you say can travel very quickly and be all over the media, and that's a problem. So what I'm saying is this, and I'm being very clear in this position that I have right here. If, in fact, Thomas Lane believed that George Floyd was on the ground and he was being controlled, he was not dying. He was being controlled and XYZ, and he didn't understand what he was saying. If he said he couldn't breathe, if he said he's having a problem, whatever the case may be, which is detrimental, I am not knocking that whatsoever. It's detrimental. It's terrifying. If it was your family member, it would be extremely hard to deal with, a friend or whatever. It was hard for people to watch that regardless of who you are. So you have a lot of love and respect for humanity in general. I'm making that very clear right now because that's the message people will get the next day. Someone will screenshot it or record it or post it and say, this guy's, no, that's not what I said. What I'm saying is if he felt like the man was not dying, George Floyd was not dying, and he was being controlled in a situation, he was looking around for the quarters around the situation, monitoring people, citizens, whatever, then I believe the man did not deserve to go to jail. Now, we're going to get to Derek Chauvin in a second. We're going to get to what he did about kneeling on the neck in a second. That's my opinion. That's how I feel. I give it to you straight. I love everybody watching the live stream right now. And if you're watching this, hit the like button if you understand. And if you agree, put yes in the chat, put no in the chat, but put in there what you actually believe. How do you feel about the situation? Do you think that this man was actually wrong? Did he do anything wrong? Was he the guy that should be responsible? Is he someone that should be responsible? As a cop and a fellow police officer next to my guy, if I'm there, I'm really looking at the situation being like, I trusted you to do what's right. I trust you to be on the scene with me to protect me. I protect you. But in this position, as a cop, and imagine if you were just getting on the scene like a rookie out there, right? Like obviously there's some young cops out there that show up that are on the scene, and you got a guy that's been here for a long time. You got respect for that lieutenant or that deputy, whatever you want to call it. I don't even know the exact steps and the stipulation, how you go up the chain as far as cops go. But what I do know is that if you step on the scene, and I compare it to sports, and I'm not trying to say that George Floyd life is belittled or should be smaller because I'm talking about sports. So before people say that, I'm just saying a rookie on the scene, you get to the NFL, and you got Tom Brady out there who's been coaching or playing football for a long time, right? Or guys like Andy Reid coaching for a long time. You step on the field and you go, okay, and they're kind of handling the situation. You might say, what was going on? But you kind of don't put yourself out there as much because you respect someone who has seniority over you, right? So I'm giving to you straight how I'm feeling. I'm not taking any sides. I'm just saying if I saw a cop standing there and someone's dying, you got to help out. Or if your cop was getting hit, you got to help out, or what's going on. But it depends on what he was seeing, what he was feeling, and what he was thinking. And he also did serve 2.5 years as the cop that was standing there that didn't do it. So you got to understand, he didn't do it. He served 2.5 years. Should he be responsible? Should he still be in jail? Should he have been released? And that's part what we're talking about right now. We're going to move on to another piece of the pie here. Who will be blamed for the ex-cop's release now, right? So now he gets released. Who is going to be blamed now? That's the thing, right? First and foremost, he gets released. I bet you, right, somehow, some way, shape, or form, right, we know this is going to come to the mix, right? Somehow, some way, shape, or form, they're going to blame either Donald Trump, right? The Biden administration, like somehow, some way, shape, or form, Trump is going to be tied into this. I promise you, they're already talking about it in the media. Well, who would be, who's responsible? Who makes the decisions? Who gets up there and says, look, the court system is the court system, our judicial system, the justice. A lot of times people don't believe that it's good. Sometimes people agree with the situation. A lot of times you have riots and uproars, we'll get to in a second about that. But all I'm saying is somebody's going to be to blame of this being of the cop being released early. And I'm like, to me, it's comical in a way. Not George Floyd, not the death of George Floyd, not the cops. What's comical to me is how some way, shape, or form they'll say, who's to blame for this? The judicial system was the same yesterday as it is today. And now, maybe years ago it was different, but yesterday and today, he was released yesterday, and then into today, right, it's the same system that we got in place. So whoever was in charge yesterday is in charge today. Whoever was in charge last week, the same people that go through the protocols, right, you have the judges, you have the people in the city, you have the government, you have the branch. Kamala Harris has been in there for a long time, judicial system. These people make decisions. He was released. Who will be to blame for that is another question that people are going to have now. I promise you that's going to be the next conversation, not for us, but will be the next conversation that will be all over the media. Who's to blame? How did he get out? Why would they let him out? And all I'm saying, I gave you my opinion. I already told you about my situation, how I look at the deal, how he was there. He was a cop in the background. He should have stepped in if he knew shit was going south. You step in and say, whoa, like what's going on here? At least get in front of him and say, yo, we got the guy under control here. We're like, relax, we got the guy under control. I get that. But if you're looking at someone who's been there for a long time and you're like, hey, I don't know, I'm respecting this guy. I'm following this guy's lead. This guy knows more than me, or I don't know how the guy was feeling. I wasn't in court. I didn't hear what the guy said. But I can tell you first and foremost, you're either a good person or you're a bad person. And your natural instincts will kick in at random times that you need them to kick in. Regardless if you're a cop or not, they kick in. Especially if you're an outgoing person or you're not an introvert, you're an extrovert. You get out there and say, whoa, what's going on? You want to stop the situation. And I believe in this position right now, moving forward, there's a bigger conversation right now. Ex-cop Derek Chauvin here will never live normal. And that's what I want to talk about here for a second. You're talking about a guy, okay, that obviously in jail. This is what we saw. And this cop is still in jail. Before people get confused with it, he is still in jail. He's serving 22 years or more or whatever. He's still in jail. He's still incarcerated. He didn't get out. He's not the cop that got out. He's obviously, that is not going to happen for a very long time. He's in there for reasons obvious, pretty much, we don't even have to go down that road. We kind of understand that part of this deal here. We know what he did. We know the experience there that he obviously went through. We haven't lived through it. He has lived through it. But I can imagine how he's going to live for the next 22 years, if he makes it 22 years, sitting there in a cell. Like, I went from having a family and having a house and being there as a cop and living on the scene and doing things and having my coffee in the mornings or whatever he was doing, his natural life, to making history, or being in history. I should say making history. It sounds like he actually accomplished something great. That's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm saying is he is now in the history books for something that people will never let go of, obviously. And you see your ex-cop, Derek Chauvin here, will never live a normal life. And why is that? Because for the rest of his life, he's sitting in a jail cell for the most part. And I'm not saying he can't get out in 20 years. But if he gets out of there without any struggles or any problems, or people, obviously, that are going to be in the jail, in the prisons, watching his every move, harassing him, obviously, if he ever were to get out, his life would be absolutely miserable, maybe even worse outside the prison. So I don't even, he will never live a normal life when he gets out, because people are going to be looking for him. George Floyd's family looking for him. Random people. And this goes back and forth in a lot of ways where people will look at this, and some people to this day believe that he was not wrong, that he did not commit this. And here's what I'm saying. If you're struggling to put something on the ground, to put a man on the ground, and you're battling him and you got him down, and he's fighting to get up and you're holding him down, I get all these mechanisms that you have, that you have to accomplish in that whole altercation. I get you use everything that you learned from the police, the detectives, the officers, the FBI, whatever you went through, cop training, boot camp, whatever you learned, anything you did over the years of training to become a cop and to be there for XYZ years. I believe you probably learned a lot of different things to maneuver in these altercations. But to have your knee down there and then be talking to people while you got him down on the ground and you know that he can't get up, that's where the problem comes into play for me. It's not a race thing. It's not a white thing. It's not a black thing. It's not is it a convict? Is it not a convict? For me, it's you have a guy on the ground, it's like you're fighting somebody and the fight's over. You proved your point. Now, if they hurt one of your children or your wife, or it's a cause that is beyond measures and you can't control yourself, some of that probably is understandable. But in this position, right, you're talking about a guy maybe stole something, right, or did something wrong. In this position, again, and this isn't the cop that we're talking about right now is the one that did it. But the guy that got released was Thomas Lane. But all I'm breaking down for you to understand right now and make it very, very clear, his life will never be the same. This gentleman here, he's in there for a long time. If you're just joining us right now on the show, we were talking about about Thomas Lane. And now we're talking real quick about Derek, because his life will never change. He'll be in there forever. George Floyd will never get his life back. If you're watching this, hit the like button right now if you're watching, and subscribe. Put a comment in the chat how you feel. We're going to dive into a second about what it's like here in a minute from the other cop as well again. George Floyd drug issue important in case. Is George Floyd's drug issue, is that an important part of the case? People are talking about that now too, talking about, well, he was on drugs There was a problem with drugs. He was experimenting with drugs. And now that's a conversation that people are talking about, saying, well, because he was on drugs, he was having a problem breathing anyway, and that was an issue. Look, I hate to break this to a, look, that might be true. That might be true that he was on drugs. But you can't justify at times with your knee in someone's neck that whole time. If they're saying I can't breathe and they're on the ground, they're having problems, and you're a cop and he's controlled, we're talking about someone who's controlled on the ground, someone who's not moving around and going crazy. If he's controlled on the ground and you got your knee in his neck still and he's talking, there comes a point in time that I'm telling you, as a natural person, again, not as a police officer, not as a detective, not as a cop, there comes a point in time where you see what's going on, and as a natural instinct, you realize I'm controlling the situation. This isn't my first arrest. I know what's going on. Obviously, this got taken to the next level and went way beyond measures. And because he had his knee on his neck for 9 minutes or whatever, and who's counting and who's recording and all this, the scene was controlled, I believe, with multiple police officers there. And I think the issue that he's going to have, Derek is going to have for a long time, is the scene was under control, and you continue to do something to someone who was on the ground. Now, we're going to talk about it in a second. Obviously, this is someone who has been arrested before. This wasn't the best person to hang around, if you want to say in quotes, and I don't know him. I'm just giving an example. Someone who gets arrested a lot, or someone who's doing things wrong, or someone and I don't know him. I don't know his family, so I'm not knocking them. I'm just saying, is it someone that you want your family to hang out with? Is it someone, I don't know him to give you an honest opinion, but I can tell you that a lot of people, especially the media and people out there, are like, you feel bad for him because of the situation, and then you look at the background. Did he do X, Y, Z, or didn't do X, Y, Z? It doesn't justify killing somebody. It doesn't justify death. It doesn't justify any of that. But the point is, he wasn't the quote-unquote model student, or quote-unquote the model person that everybody, should learn from, is what I'm trying to say. So in this position right now, it's hard, because even if he was on drugs and something were to happen, you still got your knee in someone's neck for 9 minutes or saying they can't breathe, X, Y, Z. So you're still in the wrong, and he obviously did the wrong thing, and he deserves to be in prison the way that should go. Years and years, however, I don't know how to break that down, but I do know that's my honest opinion. Now, should we expect massive riots from this? Are we expecting riots? Do you guys think in the chat? Yes, there's going to be a lot of riots. There's going to be a lot of people running around going crazy. There's going to be people out there going nuts. There's going to be people out there chanting George Floyd. There's going to be people out there that are going to be super upset about the situation. Do you think there's going to be riots everywhere? Should we expect riots to be all over the place in every major city? Out walking the streets? Does this completely bring back the BLM movement again? Does it? And then it comes down to who let them out, right? Then all these questions and concerns: who's in office? Joe Biden administration. If the Trump administration was in office, we got to be honest here, and I'm always going to be honest. If Trump was in office right now and this guy got out of prison, it would be worse. I'm telling you right now, they would look at Trump and go, "Oh my God, how can you let this happen?" Like, it would immediately go to that. Because Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are in office, I wonder how they're going to approach that. Who's to blame for it? Is it going to be them? Is it going to be the judicial system? Is it going to be going to court? Is it going to be proven evidence? Is it going to be the realistic measures of life? Like, maybe they went to court and decided that this was the right decision. Like, that is where now we can probably expect riots. We can probably expect people to do some things out. There's last time there was looting and riots and tons of people marching down streets and things were burned. And there was so many problems. You're in the live stream right now. Do you agree with me? Put a Y in the chat right now. Explain it. If you're watching it live, or if you watch it when it's not live, you watch it after the fact, leave us a comment and let us know how you're feeling about this situation, because there's definitely going to be riots. I don't know how they're going to control it. But I will tell you this. After him being released, right, and he's going to be under home supervision. I'm sure there's going to be police to a detective. Look, he's going to have some sort of security. It's going to have to happen, because they're going to show up. They find out where you live. They ride in front of your house. They show up at your door. They knock doors down. There's going to be other people. I promise you, I hope it doesn't happen. And I'm not saying they should do anything. That's not what I'm saying, making that clear too. But I can promise you that people are going to show up at the doorstep of this man's house, or he's going to have to get rid of his house and find another property, or his family's house. This opens up a lot more. This is already happening before. This was happening before he was arrested. So now that he is out and released, and people believe strongly, a lot of people believe strongly that they're like, hey, this man should be in there. And I'm shooting you straight here, and I'm telling you the truth. A lot of people are going to get on here and they're going to pick a side based off what somebody said, right? And I hate to say this, but I got to say this. I got to say this in a way that makes sense for a lot of people. Because I'm biracial, again, I can say what I want to say. A lot of black people in the world would probably immediately take George Floyd's side because they say, hey, this guy's a racist. Immediately, that's what happens. Now, if the guy's a racist, the guy did something wrong, it's well-deserved. I agree if that's the position. But here's what I'm saying is this. As someone who's biracial, I look at the whole picture. I see white people. I see black people. I see what I would do in this situation. I picture myself out there. If I was there and something were to happen, what would I do? If I was there and I was, again, the cop that's been released, if you just joined us right now, hit the like button and subscribe. The cop that was released is not the cop that did the kneeling on George Floyd's neck. The cop that has been released is the cop basically in the background. We're talking about the cop that did not do the killing, did not do the manslaughter, but was charged with aiding and abetting. It was like second degree manslaughter or whatever the case may be. So he's released after 2.5 years of prison. And let me break this down for you. If you go to jail for 30 days, you're not going to like it. If you go to jail for 1 year, you're not going to like it. You go to jail for 2 years, you're not going to like it. He's been in there for 2.5 years. Now, it does not bring back George Floyd's life whatsoever. I got to make that clear because some people are going to say, that doesn't do anything for George Floyd's family. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that this helps George Floyd's family or anything, but him being this cop right here, this particular cop, making it clear, this particular cop being in prison doesn't help George Floyd either or help the family. In or out doesn't help. And he was the person that was on the scene at the time. So I'm giving it to you straight right now. If you guys agree with me that look, I'm telling the truth, I'm explaining it properly, let me know right now in the chat, in the live stream. Because what I do, the best I can do is explain it without looking at race and looking at all these other things that people are going to dive into. And I got to tell you something. As a white person out there, if you get up there and say, he should be released, right? People are, you're a racist, right? Immediately. That is the way that our life operates right now because of all these movements and the system and Republican and Democrat and all that. You literally have to watch how you say it. And that's why I can say what the hell I want. And I don't give a damn. I tell the truth. I look at the real situation. I hope you guys agree with me or understand or at least trust where I'm coming from with this from the heart perspective. And I don't try to yank on a religious side. I don't yank on a racial profiling side. I don't yank on a position that I'm choosing based off being white, black, or Spanish or anything else or any other cultures. I don't do that. I look at the major view here, and when I see a guy standing in the background, I have other pictures here I want to show you. I believe that I pulled up here of the situation, and I don't know if they're on my platform here or not. As we expand our show, I have other people that are going to be helping out with some other things, but at the end of the day, when I look at the major picture and the major conversation and the topic at hand that we're talking about, a man did 2.5 years for not intervening, not stepping in and stopping the cop that did the damage, right? He did not step in and stop the cop from killing the guy. So he went to prison and didn't know how long he was actually going to be in prison because once you get there, you're in there, all bets are off. This comes out, evidence comes out, go to court again. Oh, this motion's filed. This is happening. He was probably scared for his life in that fucking place too. And then at the end of the day, and I'm not sticking up for him. I'm not sticking up for this guy at all. I'm not sticking up for him saying, oh, what an excellent cop. That's not what I'm saying at all. And people are going to watch this, I'm sure. People that will watch this video and share it or save it or whatever. As this grows, you're going to see this shit pop up. I promise you one day. And I'm telling you the truth. I hope that people understand that. And black people should get the same type of respect in any situation. White people should get the same, similar, same respect. It should be the same how you're treated. depending on the action of that person, right? You pull somebody over and they're like, hey, how you doing, officer? What did I do wrong? You get a different response. If you get pulled over, white, black, Spanish, doesn't matter, and your response is, go F yourself, or I ain't doing shit, or I'm not from here, I ain't talking to you. You're going to get a different response. You're going to get a cop who's more on, well, okay, this guy's a lot of control. You might see that cop reaching for something that he should not be reaching for at that time because he's worried. Don't put the cop in that position to make him feel worried and just sit there. Now, I'm not saying that in the past in our lifetime, that shit has not happened in life where there were racist cops out there where they planted shit on people, planted drugs, or they went out there and they hurt people on purpose. That shit happens, and that has happened, and I'm not knocking that or taking that away. But what I'm saying is, for majority of cops out there, when they pull you over, whether in your car, I've been pulled over on my car, I've been pulled over my golf cart twice in the last year, pulled over on my golf cart, taking my kid to school. Like, you're pulling me over, going out of do not enter, and I'm in my golf cart. Like I'm saying, if I was on a bicycle, well, this is a motorized vehicle. And 1 minute they're telling you it's a motorized vehicle, and then 1 minute you don't need a license plate. Why? Because it's not a car. Well, it's a motorized vehicle. To me, you have to go to school and go to law school and go to Harvard to figure out all these goddamn rules and regulations. But what I'm saying is, if you get pulled over and you start shooting the shit off to the cop, it never ends well, because that cop feels disrespected, feels belittled, feels like you're trying to talk shit. Just like in a regular altercation, if you're walking down the street and someone says, excuse me, and you just start going off on them, they're going to handle the situation different too. And I'm not sticking up for cops that are bad people or that are racist. I'm not doing that. I'm saying the way the situation is handled sometimes is based upon the person. It's not always based upon race, and sometimes it is based upon race. Unfortunately, that's the goddamn world we live in, and I hate to say that. And if you agree with me in the live stream right now, tell me. Put the flyers in the chat. Put yes in the chat. Let me know. And if you watch this after, comment. People know when I'm on here, and as this platform continues to grow and expand, I'm telling you right now, we have a lot of sponsors coming in. We're excited. And we have a lot of different networks. I'm not going to lie about that. We got networks reaching out, and some major ones reaching out. And I'm taking my time looking at some stuff. But all I'm telling you is this. I'm in the position where I can only tell you the truth. And I don't have any other way to do it, because I don't even know how to do it any other way. I analyze the situation, put myself in the picture, and decide what I would do. And not that I'm perfect at all. Not that I believe that I'm perfect, but I'm not going to step up here and get on the platform and start saying, well, this person was black, so, they deserve this, and it's a BLM movement, and this guy's a racist. Like, I don't look at it like that. I look at it like, what did the guy do? Well, the guy walked out. Did he deserve this? Did he deserve to die? Absolutely not. Did this man deserve to die? Absolutely not. But was he supposed to be given like a pacifier and hey, you're a nice guy? No, the guy was doing some things that he should not be doing in the first place. That is why people have a hard time understanding it. And I could get right to the bottom line and the point and say, look, if the man is not a good dude, if the man is not a good guy, if the guy's not, if he's not a good man, if he's not a good dad, if he's not a good friend, like all these different ways you can say whatever you want to say, a dude, a brother, a friend, whatever the case may be, if you're not on your best behavior, right? I'm not saying you got to be all the time, but if you're not on your best behavior and you're walking around, a lot of times shit's not going to go good, right? Like shit's not going to go good. And I looked in this position right now, and I got to tell you, I'm not excited about the whole world now getting all crazy and in a frenzy and all this over this particular cop being released. Okay. Now, if we had another cop released and the guy that actually did the killing right now, shit would go crazy. There would be an uproar because he had his knee on his neck. And imagine if it was your mother or your father or your friend or your cousin or someone you know or whatever. If this happened and you were watching this happen, and obviously this cop here on the right, Derek Chauvin, you would never want to think he's a good person, especially if you're connected. Everyone has a different story. Everyone has a different tune, and everyone's singing a different song in this whole entire situation. And then again, they brought up, how about drugs? Was drug the reason? Was it the fact he was taking drugs? Is that an important part of the case that George Floyd was taking drugs? Was this an important part? Maybe. Like maybe the drugs were a reason why this went the way that it went down faster. but you still got your knee in somebody's neck for that whole time, and the whole situation was pretty much controlled. So that is why, if you watch it and he's not moving, he's laying there talking, I can't breathe, and you got your knee in his neck, that's why your ass is arrested. If you had your knee on his neck and you pulled it off and he started moving, you put your knee back down on his neck, get him squared away again, and then get back up again, and then you have to keep using your knee to apply pressure to handle the man. I got to tell you, you got to do what you got to do. Like, you got to do what the hell you got to do in a lot of different times in that position. But the problem still remains. Let me make sure I got this correct on here. Make sure I got the right damn picture on here. Here we go. He'll never live a normal life. And he will always, and again, this is the cop that actually did it right here. He will never live a normal life. He will always, in prison, he will have a hard time. When he gets out of prison, he will have a hard time. He was stabbed, I believe, a year ago in prison. He was already stabbed in prison because of the whole situation. So his shit is never going to fly right. He's already going down the shit path that people do not want to be on. But the main topic of conversation before I sign off today is pretty damn simple. Ex-cop, Thomas Lane, released from prison. Should he be released or should he be in jail? 2.5 years for the cop that didn't intervene. 2.5 years for the police officer that did not intervene. The guy that didn't stop it. Now, if that's my family out there, my friends, people I know, I'm like, yo, stop this shit's crazy. You know, what's going on? How did he feel about it? Did he see the guy was dying? And should he have stepped in there? How do you guys feel? Let us know in a live stream right now. If you watch it later, make sure you leave a message and hit that like button, because as we expand our show, we want people to know that we get on here and we tell the truth. We give it like it is on this platform. Every single day at 10 a.m., we are live Monday through Friday. Again, Eastern Standard Time. It's 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And be here at 9:55 for the countdown and have conversation. We know people come in here every day and have fun with us before the show even starts. And let me tell you something. As we end our show right now and get forward to move on, we are live tomorrow. We're talking to Kansas City Chiefs. We're talking to Ravens. We're talking a game that's going to be live tomorrow for the play-by-play right here on the platform. In the morning, we're talking about the Chiefs. In the morning, what's going on with the Chiefs? Are they going to get a three-peat? Will they make history? Will Patrick Mahomes make history? And then at night, we go into the play-by-play live right here for the game. Make sure you are here tomorrow morning, 9:55, to check out the Chiefs conversation. And then when we finish up, we are live for the game at nighttime. Be here for the live play-by-plays. And let me end this poll right here, people that are coming into the building. I greatly appreciate you guys doing that in the poll right now. And listen, if you're in the live stream right now, you're in the Mason Mob, put the flags in the chat right now. I saw some of them. I greatly appreciate you guys. And people that are watching later, or people that are watching if you're not in the Mason Mob, put USA out there. I greatly appreciate what you guys are doing. I see everyone that's coming into the live stream every single day. I see the names that pop in. I greatly appreciate that. And as the show expands, I will take care of you guys greatly. You guys have been here from day one. And tomorrow, again, 9:55. Be here early. We have conversation lined up in the morning. And then at nighttime, we're live for the Chiefs-Ravens game tomorrow night. I'm excited about that. I believe it's Chiefs-Ravens. Hope I didn't get that wrong. If I got that wrong, please let me know in the live stream. I believe it's Chiefs-Ravens tomorrow night, but I will double check. Either way, it's tomorrow night. We'll be here live for the Chiefs game. And then tomorrow morning at 9:55. Be here for the game. You guys have been great. I love hanging out with you guys in the morning, having a good time, and bringing you guys some stuff that's happened. Because let me tell you something. Some crazy shit happens out in the world, and if I don't bring it to you, someone else is going to bring it to you, and when they do, they might not be honest. So what I do is I get out here and I tell you the damn truth. I greatly appreciate you guys, everyone that's coming in the building right now. Mahai, Pipple, Mama, Jeff, Lee, Brittany, Roger, Brenda. I'm looking on here right now trying to go up. Candy, everyone that's in here. Tracy, I know Pop's in here every single morning. Who's else in here? Val, I appreciate you. Who else is in here coming in the building? Annie, what's going on? I'm going up, scrolling up. If I didn't say your name, I apologize. It's not that I don't want to. It's just that my eyes are freaking terrible. So I'm trying to scroll up. If you're in the building right now and you're leaving a message on the platform, I see you. And when I sign off, remember, let the video upload to YouTube. Give it a minute and go back and leave a message on the video. That's what helps it grow. I greatly appreciate you guys. And I will see you guys tomorrow, 9:55. And after that, tomorrow night, we're live for the play-by-plays. See you guys soon. Have a great rest of your hump day. We're heading toward the end of the week, and things are going to get better. Take care.
Maybe mid-80s. 80s across the Florida Keys. We'll see a few evening showers still lingering and then eventually should begin to clear out. Heading into tomorrow, it's a transitional day. Friday, finally, we're back to our typical weather pattern where the focus point for storms will be across interior sections of South Florida. And the upcoming weekend will be dependent on that tropical wave and how much moisture it actually brings in our direction. That's your 7 on 10 forecast.